I was not ready before. I'm glad this all happened the way that it did, because now I can be ready.
Welcome to the D-Pad, a very serious YouTube channel and podcast about very serious things. My name is John Seelig.
That should sync, right?
Okay, well, I tried.
I'm Ben.
I'm Sarah.
This bitch over here is Ben, and we're going to talk about The Dark Knight today.
Yeah, last night, the three of us,
During the day,
all three of us
talking
that are
about
sitting
The
at the
Dark
table right now,
All three of us that are real people.
Thank you.
John.
sat down to watch The Dark Knight for its 10th anniversary.
I'll be the first to say I'm not a real person.
John was on a plane.
I was unfortunately on a plane, which sucks because this is the first time the D-Pad has covered a movie I give an even remote shit about. It's actually my favorite movie.
You didn't care about Thor?
Nobody cares about Thor.
It was fine. I like
Natalie
Thor.
Portman probably cares.
What's
at
the
least
next
mildly
Marvel
about
movie?
Thor. Captain America. After, I mean, they'll see this probably before Thor, but after that, it'll be Captain America.
Before Thor.
But Thor,
Before.
Thor.
like you've never,
America's,
ever seen before.
Anyway,
I
whatever.
want to see Captain Myherica. So yeah, we're going to talk about Dark Knight, and
No,
yeah.
I'm just looking at you strange for the next minute now.
that's fine. I love this movie. I saw it
As
5
opposed
times
to other minutes.
in theaters.
I got to see part of it in theaters before it came out, which was a rad time.
Oh, okay.
So prior to the release of The Dark Knight, they were doing a bunch of events in major cities, and Boston was one of them. You good? It's okay.
That's why I put my phone out of harm's reach.
Sarah is the most responsible person, like, basically I fucking know, right?
Until we're on camera.
Right. She's the exact inverse of me. But then on camera, she's a me. Stop it.
I can't sit still. I need something to fidget with.
I'm enough.
Fidget with your brain. Oh my God.
So yeah, you saw it in some weird pre-selection thing, probably
So, well,
because
Rick's a fancy man.
Yeah.
No, because what they were doing was in major cities they were doing a miniature little ARG style thing. And
Like
in
a
Boston,
pirate thing?
yes, in Boston,
Cool.
The ARG was okay, but I preferred the YAR matey.
in Boston, they had a thing where you went onto the Commons and you were, the idea was you were supposed to go, you and a couple other people, and you had a guy in the chair basically who was back home on the internet or whatever, and the
So you had to be like, no, Jimmy, you don't get to come. You stay at home.
sort of actually.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
I forget if
need an
Beeble was our
internet
guy in the
connection. You
chair.
stay
oh,
home.
probably.
But so basically, we went onto the Commons, and it
Did
was
I
like,
go with you for any of this?
no,
Okay.
this was
No.
no.
this was I think
No, fatty, you were
I
at home.
barely knew you
No,
when
fuck you,
this
John.
this was
I guess it was 2007.
this was
huh?
spring of 2008. So we did not really know each other at that point.
We did. We had finished the thing.
No, we had not, because that was summer of 2008.
I was 18
We had
and
not yet
just
started.
deciding to go to WPI.
Okay. Weird. Jeez, we're getting old.
No, you were 17. You weren't yet 18 at this point.
Yeah, it depends on when in July it was. If
It wasn't in
after
July.
the 16th.
It wasn't in July. It was before. It was in like June or May or something.
All right, well then fine.
Regardless, they had an event where you went out and you solved kind of like puzzles, basically. It was like big sort of... it wasn't anything crazy, but it was like, oh, you're going to a place where blah, 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 blah. And because nobody had smartphones really in 2008 for the most part, you were on a regular phone with a guy back home with the internet to help look up, oh, you want to head over to the footbridge over there. That's what the clue is. And you had to like count a thing that was underneath it. And it was like, sweet. And
That's
they
kinda
put
cool.
in the answer.
So you had your Batman and your Alfred.
Kind of, yeah.
That's really cool. I feel like now maybe I'm just cynical, but
Yeah.
I'm like that's so much work.
I mean, it was
Yeah, but when
pretty
you didn't
softball
have
stuff.
like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
computer in your hand at all times, it's like...
Yeah.
I like can't even be bothered to play Pokemon Go now. I'm like, it's over there. It's a Zapdos. Fuck it. I'm staying here.
The whole point is to make you walk, John.
Well, but so when you finish the last thing, you and your group or whoever were brought over to another area, and they waited for a little bit because they wanted to give people enough time to have a chance at it. Anybody who solved that last puzzle were then brought into Lowe's Theater at
executed.
in Boston Common, and they got two things. The first was that they got a Joker playing card with a stamp on it.
This guy got it.
Oh,
Wait,
and look,
I
you
still
ruined
have.
it.
No, that's how it came. It was
That's-
with the blue thing
There's,
on
like,
it.
some
Weird.
stuff on it, though.
That's this is.
And it's warped.
You know,
It's
you
been-
should sleeve this card.
Yeah, you
I mean,
really
maybe.
should. Or put it in a top loader.
I don't know what that is.
That's the harder plastic ones.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
that
gotcha.
sometimes
yeah.
you see, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't
like,
want a whole deck that way.
it's a pretty old card. It's,
Here's my deck.
but so the other thing we got to see was we got to see the opening heist scene in theaters like a good 2 months before it came out.
That's a really good
That's a great scene.
It
Yeah.
really sets the tone and gets you like
gives you a good feel for how that movie's going down and how
I
the
guess it
Joker
makes
is
sense
going
that
to
would
behave.
be the scene to spoil.
Exactly, yeah. And so I mean, I feel like that's also a pretty good spot to like kind of come into this. Is like, does someone want to give us the rundown of the Dark Knight,
like plot wise?
Yeah, like what's the basic plot? Maybe not super detailed, but
you guys can check me on this because
that's true. He
I
hasn't
did not watch
watched
the
it
movie
in
in many years. The scene starts right. You get Batman. And you got hold on.
Immediately
You got-
wrong.
Yeah.
No. I'm not saying
And
the
no.
opening scene.
Instantly.
I'm painting the picture. Right? So like the major players in this movie.
The
are
movie
like
starts and there's Batman. No,
Batman,
Yeah.
Michael
No.
Caine. You get Morgan Freeman as Fox. You get what's her face, the kind of melty face lady. Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal. Girl Jake.
She looks like
She's not. She's fine.
Maggie?
She's there.
the cheek lady from Eraserhead is like if you exaggerated all of her features.
No, what?
She has puffy
remember
cheeks.
that.
It's not a bad thing. It's just
Yeah.
it's hard. She's just got a round face. I don't know.
The girl in the heater has like
Yes, if you
volcanoes
exaggerated,
that pop straight
if you took her cheeks went blah, that's
See, I was just gonna be a little
Maggie
offensive and move
Gyllenhaal
on.
looks totally different from the lady in the radiator.
All right, you know what?
right, she's in
You're
the
not
Radiator.
making sense anymore, Ben.
anyway. Give us
All
the
right.
plot.
Yeah,
Give us
the plot. All right, it starts with the scene when the clowns and they're all like breaking into the bank and like stealing shit, and the clown who's in charge, you later find out is the Joker, and he's crazy. It's unclear where he comes from. They didn't spend any time on his origin in this movie, which I think was a good thing.
Yeah, he tells 2 fake stories about how he get his,
Yep.
well, you don't know if both
At
are
least
fake,
2,
but he tells
yeah.
2 different stories about how he gets
I
his
was gonna
face
say,
cut.
not
Yeah.
only do they
Starts
not
to
tell you,
go.
they intentionally obfuscate what
Yeah.
his
They
origins
tell you
are.
2
Yeah.
totally different stories, and then he's about to tell Batman a third.
He
And
is-
Batman's like, I don't give a shit.
He is literally a
Like-
chaos elemental.
Yes.
Like that's the only guiding principle of how they wrote him, and I love that.
I thought they did
as
an
opposed to,
excellent job with him.
idea.
So he like manipulates, right? Yeah, totally. So he manipulates the other clown robbers into either killing each other or whatever.
Would
and then
you
he
say
gets,
that? Would you say that he clowned them?
Are they
He
clowns
clowned- he
who
clowned
rob,
the
or do
clowns.
they rob clowns?
both? Because one of them killed the other one to
Yeah.
get them more money, and then the Joker was like, "Okay, I win," and then he blows everyone up. There's a lot of blowing
That's
things
how
up
he
on roads
goes.
in this movie.
There is.
Okay, so that's how it starts. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's
I
stop
can't give you a
interrupting
scene
John.
by scene breakdown. Really, I don't remember
Sure.
enough.
No, there's
but basically,
basically-
the crux is the new DA is Aaron
Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart.
Oh, I thought you were going for his like in universe name was like
no,
definitely not Aaron.
It's
but
pre
yeah, Aaron
it's
Eckhart,
Two Face. Yeah, pre Two Face. This is in universe name.
One face.
Single
just
face. yeah.
Face. Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to call me Harvey Face.
So this movie almost suffers from a like Spider-Man 3 Venom Too Many Villains problem, but it doesn't because they don't really introduce Two-Face until the end. He's more or less on the right side for most of the movie.
It's really more about the building of Two-Face, and then
Right.
he's only evil for a very brief amount of time.
Yeah, and almost for more understandable reasons. I actually like what they did with him there because you're like, oh, he's a guy who was trying to do his best and like he got broked.
Right. He gets
Yeah, he-
desperate, and then
Yeah.
that's when everything goes to shit.
I
Yeah.
thought they did an amazing job building Two-Face. Literally, my only regret is that like they couldn't do more with him because of how
Right.
good of a job they did making his character. It was sort of like well, where do you go with him? Nowhere. We kill him now.
Did they kill him off at the end? I don't
They
remember.
immediately kill him off.
See,
yeah.
that's such a bummer.
His
because
They did
funeral is
such
one
a
of the
good
last
job,
scenes.
right?
he would have been a much better. Well, we can talk about my issues with The Dark Knight Rises later, but he would have been a much better third movie jumping off point, I think, than whatever they did for Dark Knight Rises. But that's neither here nor there. The whole movie's great.
I was just like, yeah, and that was a great rundown of the plot.
Right.
Sorry.
There's
that
this
was my
really
fault.
touching
I
scene-
didn't-
Oh, hey,
Tonga.
Oh, somebody wants to play fetch. You got to
There's
give
this
it to
really
one of
touching
us,
scene
baby.
where Batman tells Morgan Freeman for some reason that he wants to move his neck.
Yes.
And then so there's another like fake Batman in like vigilante clothes.
Yeah.
Going around trying to do Batman things, and then Batman ties him up and is like, "Don't fucking do that." He's like, "You're not so different from you and me. What's the difference?" And he goes, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." For the longest time, though, I thought he was saying hockey pants, and I was like, "What is hockey pants?" So that bugged me for a long time. It made a lot more sense to
You're
the
broken,
scene.
Rick
Ben.
said the same thing when he watched
Wait,
it last.
really?
What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
What are hockey pants? I mean, I've heard that story.
You've heard me talk about it, right?
But okay, I didn't know, and I thought that was
All right,
hilarious.
Batman. Neither am I.
You shouldn't have ruined the illusion for me.
Hey, you shouldn't have gone digging.
I mean, my only critique with this movie is the Batman voice. I don't think it's necessary,
It's so
and I don't think it's done
ridiculous.
well.
The worst thing about The Dark Knight is The Dark Knight.
It sounds like your mom trying to do a Dark Knight voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. Go to your room and do some chores. And then after, maybe you could have dessert.
But Mom!
No. I didn't see you sweep. I didn't see you clean your chores.
You're pretty good at that. I did not clean my chores today. You're very correct.
By the end of the movie, it's more like,
I have to be.
Like,
Because they shot the movie in one take.
he was so
I've
tired.
been moving for the last 2
They should have either written in a voice changer or let him speak in a slightly more
oh
normal
no, the
voice
voice changer in Batman v Superman is so silly.
But like, just
Do
a
you
little
wear-
bit. Oh no!
It's the CPAP.
Grab a chair.
Hey.
Grab
You're
a
on
chair.
camera.
Come on in.
Yeah, we got a mic for you over there and a chair for you over there.
Yeah,
No, there's a
whichever.
chair
we
right
got a
over
chair over
there.
there. We can slide
Oh,
in this
all right.
way.
Well, all right, you can just sit there.
That
Yeah,
works
actually, this
too.
is perfect. Just
Wanna
get a
grab
mic, though.
Grab your mic.
I
It's
know
over
you. You're not gonna not talk.
There's,
You gonna? You gonna?
Completely upstage me and Rick. I guess he's right.
Excellent.
So Rick, let's each swing to a side so we can be visible. Hi CJ, I miss you. How are you?
Good. What are we talking about?
We're talking
Dark
about Batman:
Knight.
The Dark Knight.
Which one was that?
The
the
Heath
middle one
Ledger
with
one.
Joker.
With the
middle
Joker.
one.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
the Joker.
the good one.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh no.
No, that's Aaron Eckhart.
No, that's not what he means. There's going to be a Scorsese movie starring Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, which is the most
What?
fucking bizarre
Am I skipping
shit
ahead?
I've ever heard.
Talking to a
Spoilers.
mic. So another one of my favorite scenes, the Joker is dressed up as a slutty nurse, and you think the movie's going to take a special kind of turn?
What makes you think that he's a slutty nurse?
He's just a
Yeah,
nurse.
John.
He could have had
He
his skirt
throws some
longer, and
eyes. He
chose
throws some
not to.
eyes.
That's
true, too.
That's because he's the Joker, not because he's slutty.
Yeah.
Well, based on the fact that he's all about sheer
Joker
chaos,
likes
I
short
imagine
shirts.
he's
Short
pretty
shirts.
slutty.
Actually, one of our favorite parts of the movie is
Yeah.
you've got Harvey just sitting there in bed, half his face all fucked up. And he's like, oh, and he turns over and he sees the Joker with the makeup and stuff on and a little face mask, and then he pulls off the face mask and smiles, and then he's like, ah, like in the hot, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you couldn't tell from all of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
no,
that
no,
was.
That's the worst part. That's the worst acting of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
It's just
There's a
more
bunch of-
weird.
there's
It's
a
like,
bunch of
oh,
moments
he's
like that.
totally not recognizable until he pulls
It's
this
kinda-
mask up. Like,
yeah.
what?
It's kind of
Nobody
weird.
knew who
We
I
had
was
all
till I
these.
took off the face mask.
We had all these criticisms of the movie, and then at the end, it's like, "Oh, that's a great movie."
Yeah. No, so I want to talk about that, actually. So we all know it's a good movie. You've probably seen it. If not, stop watching us right now, you fucking idiot, and go watch the movie. But it's, let's talk about the things that don't work. So one,
Batman.
Batman is not the best.
Like almost across the whole movie, Batman's actually kind of a dumb interpretation in that movie. In Batman Begins, great interpretation of Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne. Dark Knight Rises, he's one of the few parts that actually kind of works for me. Is that they
Okay.
make him feel really desperate. In this one, he's just, I don't know. Most of his scenes are just like,
He's Christian Bale.
eh.
he's Buffy. He's
American
Buffy,
Psycho.
right? He's
Batman.
the main character,
little,
but
yeah.
not the most
Not the
exciting
focus
part.
or-
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's fair.
You know, the movie is really not about him, and like he was just upstaged by the Joker, and I think that's a good thing.
I mean, Harvey Dent's almost really more the main character in a lot of
Yeah,
ways
that's- I
than
can see
like.
that.
Yeah.
Rachel!
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. CJ's entire personality was derived from that one line.
Rachel!
Yeah.
The,
So other go ahead.
Batman is sort of like almost a background character to all
Yeah,
of it. Everything,
absolutely.
the
He's, like,
Joker,
not coming
Two-Face,
up
Buffy
that
syndrome.
Rachel.
often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like Gotham in that movie. I don't think it looked like Gotham
Which
to me.
which city
Interesting.
was that one? That was Chicago,
Chicago,
I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That
Third
goes into
one-
my next complaint is
Third
that
movie was
there's
Pittsburgh. I don't
really? I didn't
remember
know
where
that.
the first one was filmed.
well,
I mean,
Pittsburgh
the
is
Burton
Chicago.
movies put Gotham City expectations to like a high standard. I think of,
Yeah.
like old art and architecture.
Actual
Yeah,
Gotham.
it wasn't
that.
gothic enough
Yeah.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Not
So
Gotham. Where are the gargoyles? He's hiding among.
Oh,
Damn
yeah,
it.
seriously.
there are a lot of car scenes and like long shots of like all this stuff. I didn't need all that. Maggie Gyllenhaal isn't just not my favorite actor. Her part is also just kind of weak.
She's not your favorite
She's an
Katie
accessory. She's not my favorite Katie
I thought
Holmes.
Katie Holmes did a lot better.
Way better. Yeah, yeah. And she just like doesn't really need to be there. She's just a MacGuffin more than anything else.
She's there to
Yeah,
die.
she's the sexy
right.
lamp.
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
gets
she's a
stolen.
sexy lamp. for sure.
She's there to drive the wedge into Harvey Dent, and
Hey-o.
between him,
She
and
most
Batman.
certainly does not pass the Bechdel test or whatever it is.
Are there any other female characters that speak in the entire movie?
Probably,
the
but
date.
we don't remember
The
them.
like Russian
Oh,
date
of
at the
course.
restaurant.
Whose
Oh,
name
right.
was?
Object.
She didn't get named.
That's right. No, she did get named.
Did she? Damn
she
it.
did.
Olga.
Yeah.
Probably.
Which is Russian for object.
Rachel, Natasha, Natasha, Rachel.
Oh no, there was that female officer.
Oh,
Ramirez.
Oh yeah,
Spoilers.
Ramirez.
Actually,
yeah,
there you
okay.
go. Officer Ramirez was the one who kidnapped Rachel to bring her to that warehouse.
There was probably a
5
conversation at some point in there that we didn't see.
There we go, and it wasn't about boys.
Wait,
Boom, it
wait,
passes.
Wait, CJ, who did
There
she
was
kidnap?
Commissioner Gordon's kids. One of them being Barbara.
No, his wife
No,
was
Barbara
Barbara.
is his wife.
His daughter doesn't get named.
Oh, they
His
really
daughter
fucked
does
that
not
up.
get
Also
named.
Is it also Barbara?
Yeah, it's Barbara Gordon, Batgirl.
Barbara
Little
Jr.?
Barbara Gordon.
Jimmy Jr. and
Baby
Barbara Jr.?
Barbara.
But she never has any lines. His wife has a few lines that are basically like, "Oh no,
You
he's
never even
dead."
see her face.
Yeah,
the only
you-
time you
you
see her,
literally
it's her
see
Yeah,
the
head
but
top
his
of
turned
her
daughter
on
is
his shoulder.
Batgirl.
I mean, yeah, in the comics. You never get to see it in these movies, but
Yeah.
So
Never
other
gets that
complaints I have,
far.
some
They
of the
tried.
editing and pacing is a little weird. I got to admit.
Interesting.
I love this movie, but there are some shots, and I remember this from the last time I watched it, but I don't remember the specifics, so
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if you,
you
guys
mean like
picked up on this.
the wackadoo radar vision?
Yeah, that doesn't make any
It was
fucking
like, let's
sense.
CGI stuff, and it's like whoosh, like in
Yeah.
and out of like several floors of the
It
building.
was like,
and-
why would you have this being projected onto your eyes when you can
Yeah.
just be like, "Hey, Fox, where are they?"
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to
Right.
like, well, I'm getting motion, just Batman standing there
Yeah.
going,
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, that's an odd choice, an unnecessary thing. It kind of throws off the pacing, and it's a lot of weird CG.
It also just
editing
felt
and stuff.
dumb to me with the the way they represented it. It's like no one's ever gonna take the time to represent this code thing in the weird sonar like video format
like in
that you're
Jurassic
doing. No
Park.
one's gonna bother.
It's like at the end of Jurassic Park where she's like, I know this. It's a Unix system. And then it's just a bunch of squares, 3D polygon squares on the screen.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
tell me
you're
what
like,
Unix
you're like
looks like.
soaring
guys.
The crazy thing
over, and you're
is-
like, what?
The crazy thing is that scene in Jurassic Park isn't actually all that far off. That was a program that was used in the earlier days of Unix to visualize the file
Ooh.
hierarchy, like the file folder
Wow.
structure.
So she was right. That annoying girl who gets sneezed on by a brachiosaurus
thought-
was right.
Apparently, it was right.
I thought
Life
the
will
fight
find a
scenes
way.
were pretty lackluster.
The fight, the one
They
thing
were pretty jarring and hard to follow.
I actually really
Yeah,
like
that's
that
kind
they
of what I meant with the weird editing.
the
There's some of
shots
that.
for most of the
Choreography
fight scenes
Wasn't
went.
that great?
The choreography was a little bit weird. The shots, however, didn't do that
The fight choreography
fucking
was
aggravating
good.
thing.
I
The
mean,
choreography was nice.
I didn't think so.
generally.
Well, if you think about it, the things
I
that
thought
Batman
the fight
does well.
between Batman and Joker was super boring and
Oh,
like.
well,
it's 'cause
Joker
neither of them
was
are
very
fight.
realistic,
There's no-
though.
yeah,
Joker
two of them
had
were actually fine.
rabid dogs and a lead pipe and like
Yeah.
Joker doesn't
Nothing
fight,
happened.
so that's
Yeah.
part of that. And then
Yeah.
Batman's
Joker
whole thing
fights.
in this
He kills
universe
people.
is he like swoops down,
But there's never
swoops back up.
there's never an interesting
doesn't
fight
like
between
martial arts
Batman
fight.
and Joker because
This is the
Batman,
one movie where
like,
that-
that's not the interaction
Yeah.
between Joker and Batman. Is
Yeah,
their
usually-
physical confrontation.
Usually, once Batman
No one
gets his
cares about
hands on the
that,
Joker,
yeah.
the Joker
That's
gets his
it.
ass beat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it's usually some trick.
I want to see Morgan Freeman take down Alfred. That's a fight I want to see.
Fox v. Alfred.
Fox versus Alfred.
Interestingly, fight-wise, you do get a good deal of hand-to-hand combat in Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises again because of Ra's al Ghul and Bane.
Yeah.
You do get a decent amount of actual combat, like for long stretches with the two of them in there. But in here, it's all about like the intrigue and the like mystery detective level, like what the fuck is going on? How do we figure it out?
At the end of the day, it's directed like a horror movie as much as it's directed like an action movie. And I think that's
so.
why you can explain away some of the weird combat and some of the weird pacing.
Oh yeah, I mean like
It's-
the fight choreography is not the focus of the movie, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
because
accessory,
of that,
it's
like it
a
was
detail.
what they did for fight choreography was great. It just
Corgiology.
was- corgi dogology.
Corgiology.com.
I do like corgis. I
I
saw
did-
a real fat corgi today. My day was pretty good.
It's a subsite of the D-pad. I thought the movie needed more Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I liked him in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
oh,
should've
yeah.
They kept bringing him back, but they needed to bring him back more.
They brought him. They did bring him back in the first scene, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they
but
should have
then
brought him
he
back
was-
more.
He was a drug dealer
Yeah,
and was
yeah.
selling his toxin.
Which
basically.
actually I didn't like because it kind of completely undermines his status in the first movie as a real threat. Now it's like, oh, he's a common thug. He doesn't even matter. So that kind of bummed me out.
it seems like
You
he's
leave
I
him
don't
kind
out
think
or
it
work
was
him
a
in
common
better.
thug. I think
Yeah.
it's just that he just gets caught in the first scene. Like
I
they do
think-
that all the time in superhero movies now.
It seems like the
I
idea
guess,
is he's
but-
kind of trying to build himself an underground drug empire.
Yeah.
And by the time the third movie comes around, also, that's like all right, here's where society has been completely flipped upside down. He is now essentially the judge of his own little kangaroo court, which is like, you don't end up there for no reason. It does. It does.
Then I think his treatment in 2.
I do like the little stuff sticking out of his suit. It was a nice like visual touch on the costume there, but.
Yeah,
the fight scenes. One thing I did like about those is that the shots weren't like here's a half-second shot followed by another half-second shot of like, like stuff. It was actual like
cutting
here's
back and
4 or 5
forth.
seconds of a couple things going on before the next thing starts.
Isn't there a weird? Doesn't he go to China?
Yeah.
Why?
Because to pick
kidnap
up Mr.
somebody.
Lau. Yeah.
Right, like
It's super
does
brief.
any of
It's
that
for the-
really matter?
It's
Does
for the mob
any of that make
stuff.
sense? They like
No, it actually does.
they
with
shoot
the
a
mob
skyhook
stuff.
through a window in a skyscraper and pull a guy out of the building.
Okay, that
And
part I
then
had problems with.
Pulley him into the plane, and then the plane is actually a jet that then speeds back to like New York.
It was
Right,
so
or Chicago or
This
whatever the fuck
movie
Gotham
is about the
Ribs
Batman,
would
the
have been
Joker,
broken.
and the
There's no
Two-Face.
question
Yeah.
in my mind.
This movie's
but-
about Batman, Joker, and Two-Face.
Asian guy.
Why are we in China?
well,
It
no,
doesn't
so
matter.
it's
Well, it
because
was Lau.
Joker's working with the mob,
Yeah.
and the mob has given all their money to Lau, and Lau is leaving to Hong Kong specifically to keep all of the money safe because China won't extradite him.
Sure.
All of
Like,
that
it's
is
all-
just
it's
to
all a
set up
plan,
that
but-
whole part of the movie is just to set up that the mob decides that they need the Joker to do what the Joker wants to do
Right,
to
yeah.
lure out the Batman.
They could have literally done that.
They need to give
Between
Joker
nothing.
a lot of money so he can spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of the culmination of Falcone gets taken down, so now his crime family has no head. You've got Maroni trying to go for that, and he's having trouble. All of them are dealing with Batman cracking down on organized crime, and then now their not financier, their accountant steals all of their money because the money's about to be seized by the
Cops.
Gotham PD, and then immediately after this happens, Lau gets kidnapped by Batman back to the U.S. and they're like, okay, we're out of options now, and we don't have our money.
I get it, but this like goes back to what I was alluding to before, where I'm
Yeah.
like, there's just like on the edge of too much shit going on.
Oh yeah, it's
You know what I
a
mean? Like-
2.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to.
That
be.
whole China thing could have been like rounded down to just something within Gotham and a little quicker or something.
Chinatown.
It
Actually,
was
here's the
done
thing:
well.
though, they really don't spend that much time.
Yeah,
the fact that
it
he's
was
in
done
China
well.
almost doesn't really matter. They don't spend much time on it.
It was done well, but it just
There
seems
is-
unnecessary.
there
They
Like,
should
is
have just
one
gone to
thing.
Chinatown and then they
Yeah,
could have just pulled up
perfect.
in the
Yeah.
Batmobile and like
cut it in half.
kidnap.
You know what I mean? They could have done it.
Ironically, the one main there were two things that they set up in that scene that they didn't need to. The first one being the sticky bombs, which sort of kind of show up in the last
Sticky
shot.
bombs?
Yeah, but who
He's
doesn't
got-
like sticky bombs?
Well, but I mean, like having him suddenly pull it out of nowhere in the last scene would seem kind of weird. So they could have done something else entirely. But the other thing being, that's also the scene where they show off the bat vision for the first time with the one cell phone in the thing.
Yeah.
I think the bat vision was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I think that was the main function of having that scene happen was to be able
To set a
But they
precedent for
could
using it later.
My only point is they could have truncated that whole setup for
Yeah.
the Joker starting to be part of the movie and just been like,
Yeah.
anything could have
I
happened.
mean, they
and
didn't
then
really
Batman,
need the entire opening scene, to be honest. Like,
Oh no, the opening scene is so good.
Yeah, it's
But it's
good,
awesome
but-
and it sets the tone and it characterizes the
they
Joker.
could have just introduced
Yeah.
the Joker with that next scene where he just shows up at the meeting
and he does the pencil trick.
and does the
and-
pencil
I
trick.
was just going to mention the pencil trick.
Pencil trick is great.
Segue.
That is so
Yeah.
good. That was one of those.
I just
scenes,
picture Joker riding around in a Segway now.
That was one of those scenes where where Heath Ledger's performance was strong enough that people were like forgetting what the hell to do with their scene. Like the actors in the scene.
We were busy staring at him.
Yeah, but that's what you would do in real life if you saw that.
Yeah. Well, the big one that people
That's why I always wear glasses.
the big one that people talk about is Michael Caine
Michael Caine.
talking about
it's my cocaine.
the party party
Not
at
anymore.
Bruce Wayne's place where Joker comes up in the elevator and starts
Yeah.
like, where is Harvey Dent and that whole thing. When he comes in, that was the first time he'd actually seen Heath Ledger in like any of the Joker stuff.
The
And he just
outfit,
came
the
in.
makeup.
Yeah. He came in so hard. Michael Caine was supposed to have a line immediately upon the Joker entering, and he just like completely just like
They were like, yeah, we're using that.
too stunned to not. Here you go.
It's a Tonquito.
Eh.
She's so cute.
She'll be back.
But like, just every fucking scene with Heath Ledger is
yeah, it's mesmerizing.
intense. It's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
I mean,
He did such a good job with
and
it.
it's a shame for Aaron. Why can't I remember his name?
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. He did a great job for almost
Yes.
the entire movie, and like way more interesting a character than Batman You know, and like he's just completely upstaged by the Joker. I mean, like that is one of the most legendary performances in like I would even argue like cinematic history.
Oh, for sure.
Like
don't you hang out?
You
there
can
with
say
that
it's like a shitty action blockbuster movie with no merit, but I don't care. That performance.
He put
showing everyone
so
your
much
It's a
character
shitty
into
action
that
blockbuster
character.
movie with no merit.
How dare you? But he's still a good performance, you know.
I don't think.
Right?
I mean, I know that people said the same thing. I guess about Jack Nicholson. I don't think anyone's gonna put on a better Joker at this point than Heath Ledger.
Than
just
Mark Hamill.
ever. Then okay,
Yeah.
I mean, in general, for Jokers, you could certainly make a case. They kind of go two different directions with it: comedy,
John
the
DiMaggio.
the comedy angle or the sociopathy angle.
So wait,
but
is Joaquin Phoenix really gonna be?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Is he
that's
really
the most
gonna be?
fucking
He's
complicated?
going to be
name.
the Joker in the next Joker movie.
He's
but
the one, the
Why?
Scorsese movie.
But is it part of
Not
the
to be
WB
confused.
not to
cinematic
be
universe?
confused
No.
with Jared Leto playing the Joker and the
Again.
Joker.
So there's going to
Harley
be a
movie.
Jared Leto Joker and a Joaquin Phoenix Joker running in parallel.
Yes.
In
Also-
two non-related universes.
So the real Joker is still Jack Nicholson. or Mark
Also,
Hamill.
there's the Joker in the Gotham show that is getting another
Is he?
season. At
Is
some
he
point.
in that show?
Yes.
Who is he?
No, it's not Joker.
Some kid.
It's
I don't know
Jared.
the actor's name.
His
I've
name
never
is
seen it.
Jared or
His
something.
name is Jerome.
Jerome.
Jerome and his brother
He's
Jeremiah.
not the Joker.
Jared Leto.
Spoilers.
They
I
said
guess.
he's not the Joker.
No, he is the Joker.
No, he's not the Joker.
Yeah, the one they introduced at first that they said he's not the Joker. He's not the Joker because he tried to become the Joker. Then he got killed and turned his brother into the Joker. Okay, Tonk.
I don't think his brother's
She's
the Joker
playing fetch,
either.
man.
I've seen the
She's
scenes.
so
He's
cute.
definitely You know the worst part is they have him do a froggy Heath Ledger voice.
Are we
Heath
still talking about
Heath
The
Ledger
Dark Knight?
almost Heath Ledger halfway between Heath Ledger and Tom Petty voice, and he talks like this, and it's just like don't
Don't
that.
don't
That's
even.
that dad from Grounded for Life, right? And Blade.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either of them.
We've been talking around Heath Ledger's performance, but let's
Yeah.
actually talk
No, it's
about
amazing. It's
like,
great.
how do you think he got there? Like, the Joker has been
Yeah.
done so many times, even before this
Oh,
movie.
that's a-
Not even including the new stuff, but like before this movie, there was the Cesar Romero Joker, there was the Jack
Yep.
Nicholson Joker, there was the
Yep.
Mark Hamill Joker, and there were probably others.
And others.
How did he get to the conclusion he got to do this character? And then why was it so perfect? This like relatively soft-spoken, mild-mannered, crazy pants, crazy man.
Well, he's doing a lot of Tom Waits.
Sorry, Tom Waits, not Tom Petty.
I knew you meant.
Oh, okay. I was a little confused.
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
It's like,
I want to
I'm the
watch the
Joker.
world burn.
Good job, Tom.
so yeah, but his interpretation was, it wasn't just, here we go, it wasn't just dark and gritty. It was psychological. It was, again,
Absolutely.
I think
that's
he,
why I'm saying I think he
let
read
as
a
much.
bunch of the comics.
Well, but the Joker doesn't read that way in the comics.
That is so not true. You're not reading the right ones of the comics. Then there's a
He's
bunch
never
of
been-
different
Okay, I appreciate you
interpretations.
yelling that at
He's
me,
never
but I,
been
read
I
all of the
disagree.
wrong
Yeah.
comics.
I would say
No,
that
I've
generally,
read a bunch of them. Like
I'd say that generally speaking, he's played up a lot less. In this movie, he's played up in a very animalistic kind of way. He has this weird sort of. They keep making allusions to him as being like a dog that'll just chase cars, and Two-Face calls him a mad dog or whatever. I think that's another like mask he puts on a lot of like faces just to kind of like throw people off. But he does have this sort of like bloodlusty kind of
it's
carnage.
the frantic, frenetic thing. He's
But
jumping from whatever he
like
wants to do to the
chaos.
next.
But
right.
he doesn't just do it with a smile on his face and cackling like a crazy person. He does it with like a soft-spoken like. And
He's
this
definitely
is just
not
the way
soft.
I
I just
am.
feel like
no,
it's
but
sort of
compared
a-
to picture the Mark Hamill Joker, right? So like
Sure.
Mark Hamill Joker's like
grandiose.
Yeah, he's much more understated compared to that. And Sarah, I think we're actually saying the same thing just from different angles.
I feel like if you read like The Killing Joke, it's very much
I
the
was
same
just
type
gonna bring
of
that up.
Joker.
I did read The Killing Joke,
that's
and
a lot
he reads
closer, yeah.
differently to me, I think.
I think it's a lot closer, at least from what the standard Joker prior to that had been. The Killing Joke was the first one that started to present Jokers being like, oh, he's not just doing this for shits. He's actually like way more fucked up than you give him credit for. Generally, like, oh, here's the part where I try to mentally break Commissioner Gordon by beating, stripping, and possibly raping Barbara.
So in The Killing Joke,
a little
the
vague in
Joker's
that,
main
yeah.
motivation
That's the-
appears
yeah.
to be a grandiose display of fuck you. Whereas in The Dark Knight, I feel like the Joker's primary motivation is just what is going to sow the most chaos right now.
I would disagree on both of those accounts. I would argue in both of them he has the same motivation, which is to prove other people are just as bad as him and that everyone will turn on everyone else given the right motivation.
That is a
Because
fair
it's
point.
exactly what he's trying to prove by the end of the movie.
Spoilers on the end of the
He
video.
I mean, no, that's. I mean, ultimately,
No,
that is
but
the climax, though. Like
right
when he
at
has
the
the
end,
two
when
boats.
he's got the two fairies, he's like, blow them up, or they'll blow you up, or I'll blow up both of you. And he's all like, and like, it's straight up Batman is saying, what are you trying to prove? That everyone is as bad as you are. It's a line in the movie, and like that is the entire point of the Killing Joke. He flat out says it. The Joker is all like, I'm trying to make Commissioner Gordon's mind snap. I'm trying to prove we're all one shitty bad day away from being the Joker, every single one of us. That's his point. 90% of the time, like, he's trying to prove that everyone's a crazy sociopath given the right, motivations.
All right, no, that's an interesting point. I'll think about that.
I don't think I don't think that invalidates the Joker being and inciting chaos. I think that's hand in hand,
absolutely
which
not.
was what you said.
No, I do think he's inciting chaos, but I think his purpose in the story, like what he was going for.
And we diverged. So what I was trying to say is like, I think you're right, Sarah. All that stuff was really good. I'm talking more about his affectations, his manner of speech.
Personality, I guess.
In The Killing Joke, I still get the sense that the Joker, while he's doing psychologically interesting things, he's still the Joker as we know him from our cartoons. He's big and boisterous and loud and laughing. Whereas I feel like, how did he... I'm curious how Heath Ledger came to the conclusion to do such a different treatment of the
he's
Joker.
still
hanging out
very
with Tom
loud
Waits at
and
the time. They were
laughy.
filming Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus at the same time.
Yeah.
Tom Waits was in that.
Yeah.
They had to like rewrite half the damn movie too.
Interesting.
To keep
Tom Waits was
Well,
in
no,
that.
they just
All right.
recast him with all of his friends.
right, but like initially it wasn't going to be done that way, and they were
Right.
like, okay, we need to add this thing in there to keep Heath Ledger's.
But I'm sure
chunks,
Heath Ledger and Tom Waits were hanging out and
Kissing a lot, probably.
probably kissing a lot. And
It is, I think,
smoking a lot of cigarettes.
at the end of the day, I think the main difference between most interpretations of the Joker and this interpretation of the Joker is most versions of the Joker are highly organized and ordered in all of their stuff. There's a big grand plan. There's a thing that's being led to, versus this version of the Joker where, while he's got a lot of short-term stuff that's like way intricately planned out, he doesn't have any long-term goals for it. He's just like, I'm going to really fuck some shit up, and I'm going to go through these ways to do it, so every time they think that they're out of it, there's a new fucking thing in the way.
I don't know. Again, though, I feel like these are very similar. Like, I'd argue that he doesn't ever really have giant overarching plans. Every single plan is a little like, what chaos shall I sow today sort of type plan.
I guess.
But,
I mean, it seems like in this movie he's going for more. He's going for damage a lot more than he normally does. But there's
fair. It's a lot more emphasis on just explosions and stuff. I'll give you that. He seems to enjoy fire and explosions a little bit more
and just
than like your classic cartoon one does.
Yeah.
But
he's a more, and at the same time,
I'd
he's
argue
both
he's
more.
still very boisterous and like laughing about a lot of his stuff. He's just doing it in a really dark way, or is it like the pencil trick
It's
again.
almost sarcastic.
He's all like, look at this, isn't this amazing? Bam!
Yeah, there's a
Whoa,
more
magic
psychological
trick. He
horror
doesn't
focus
care
on
that
it.
he kills people.
No,
he
but
still thinks it's funny.
In other, like, especially in the cartoons, like with the Mark Hamill Joker, like, he's shown almost as like a circus presenter. Like, he's so
That's
like
fair.
he's
Like a
got
barker,
these big,
yeah.
like, oh yeah,
He plays up the
like,
He's
circus
definitely a more
scene,
minimal
yeah.
Joker here. Even
Yeah.
if he does laugh and like once in a while, like he's still a much more.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have fit the
Grounded.
movie
That's
if
fair.
he
That
was
feels more
throwing
like
out
he's
crazy
just-
chattering teeth bombs and like
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
This just feels
Jack
like
and
he's
the Box
so
in this
happy
whole
to
movie.
be
That's true.
destroying.
The
Yeah.
closest
Like,
he comes
he's
is the
has
Joker
explosives.
cards. No, he specifically, when he sets up some of his bombs, he has like packs of Joker cards
That's
that
true.
explode with the
Yeah.
bombs.
I guess
But,
that's
that's the closest he really gets.
But he doesn't do the and granted, it was always one of the sillier things I didn't like about other versions of the Joker, but he never did the like, the deadly like handshake buzzer that actually electrocutes you, or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
acid
No, I think he-
That's what
flower.
I'm saying.
that-
I'd argue that the pencil trick was their version
Yeah,
of
right.
that.
Okay, yeah, that's
Didn't
fair.
he
That's-
actually have a gun though that just went off and with a
Bang.
flag?
They
No,
did
that
not
was
in the movie,
not
but
in
that
this
is
one.
a
That was
classic
Batman,
Joker
like
comic.
1989.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the
Right,
Jack
I know that
Nicholson
one.
one. The big crazy like 4-foot long barrel gun
Yeah.
and stuff.
They were
Does Jared
less.
Leto use it then? Maybe I don't know.
They were
might.
less literal with the Joker as we think of it, right?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking of an interesting thing. Like, Loki is a trickster god,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you can take his reading in the Marvel Universe as one way of thinking about Loki. But actually, like, a dark Loki would very much be Heath Ledger's Joker. I actually think they're like
Yeah,
two sides of the
I
same
would
coin.
agree.
A character who revels in it a little bit
Right,
more.
right. Like
It's
Loki,
a question of how dark you make him, how
Yeah.
much, you know.
like all trickster characters have a good and a bad, right? But I feel like the shadow is like inverted with Loki and Marvel. Like he's
He's
real bad, but he's mostly a good guy.
bad,
You know what I mean?
quote,
Like
unquote.
he's like 70-30, you know? He's bad but not too bad. You know, whereas I think if you exaggerated all the bad stuff about what that archetype means, you get the Heath Ledger Joker. And I think that's why it's interesting to us. Because that trickster archetype appears in lots of different things.
Now, on the flip side of all of this, which I guess is sort of an unintended pun, we also should talk about Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent, Two-Face, in almost the same like degree of separation between Heath Ledger and most others, including Jack Nicholson. I mean, Aaron Eckhart's version of Harvey Dent equally is probably never going to be touched in terms of quality either. In terms of performance,
Billy D. Williams did a fantastic
I was just going to
job.
say, yeah,
he
Lando,
did great. I would have loved to
pretty
see
solid Two-Face.
I would have loved to see them
One-Face.
continue that thread without
One
doing the
face.
recast over to Tommy Lee Jones. But also, Jesus, it is so hard to watch Batman Forever at this point. Holy
I never
shit.
have. I've never seen Batman
is
Forever
so-
I
or
don't think
Batman
I
and
have.
They
Robin.
could
If
have
you wanted to
Childish
see-
Gambino play Two-Face in the next movie.
There we go. If you ever...
Okay.
All right. If you ever wanted to see what the Dark Knight would have been in like the most camp way possible, it's Batman Forever, because frankly the Riddler in that movie is just the Joker who is more
different
curious
outfit.
slightly. Like he's more of a Joker than Jack Nicholson's Joker is compared to the comics.
Yeah, no, it's
The Joker was
Tommy
a
Lee
mobster.
Jones and Jim Carrey just trying to see who could do a better Joker performance.
Yeah, because Two-Face
And the answer is neither.
And
Yeah.
they both were just
Yeah.
eating the fucking walls. It's so hard to watch.
Let's see if you bleed green.
Harvey? I don't think it's me you want to kill. That's just too easy for someone as powerful as you and you. But Batman. There's a challenge. Kill the bat! Sounds like a good idea. But have you thought it through? A few bullets, a quick splash of blood, and then what? Wet hands. Post-homicidal depression.
I've never seen it. One day when we're good and sad and drunk,
I do like
we should
it.
do a
I like
Batman
that
and
one.
Robin and Batman Forever.
A little bit more than let's kill the dinosaurs.
Batman Returns is
The
just, or
Ice
Batman and
Age.
Robin is just embarrassing.
That's the governor of California. Or
Was
the
the
former
governor.
governor of California.
he's going. He's back to playing the Terminator again.
Yeah, yeah. But can we just? How do you go from Mr. Freeze to governor to fucking Terminator? I mean, that's pretty.
Well, I mean,
pretty
it was,
amazing
it was
career.
Mr.
Terminator
Universe to
originally.
Terminator to Mr. Freeze. That's the real drop off.
Plus a lot of other action stars.
Is the government
Last
just like a
Action
lateral
Hero
move?
is a
Action Hero.
solid
Man.
movie, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
All
What
those
is?
movies are good.
Last
Last
Hero?
Action Hero.
Is that the one
Raw
where
Deal.
he's
That's
a
when he's a different
Commando.
like movie
Kindergarten
character, and the little
Cop.
kids
Is that the
watching
one where
the
Danny
movie.
DeVito
and
is
like-
just
What's the Mars
not.
one?
Total Recall.
Total
Yeah,
Recall.
Total
Nice,
Recall.
yep.
Yeah.
I love how
I
in
just had people tell me that Last Action Hero is bad, and I'm like, you shut your goddamn mouth.
in Last Action Hero, there's a spot where they're walking through a blockbuster video style place, like a Hollywood video, whatever, and they look and they see an ad. They see a big cardboard cutout for like Terminator or something, and it's Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator, and it's like that makes sense in this altered
That's funny.
universe that they have.
Oh,
here.
Predator
Next
is
I like
awesome.
that they did
Yep.
some.
Was he in Predator?
Yeah, oh
No,
yeah.
He fought the Predator.
Yeah, he was
the guy.
He was
fucked
the
the
original.
Predator?
Yeah.
He was the original one in
The
Predator.
Predator.
He won.
Wasn't
didn't-
Carl
I
Weathers?
He
didn't-
was
I
the
did not
Predator's
know that.
Predator.
Carl
you
Weathers
seen-
was one of the other ones in there, right?
Yeah, Carl Weathers, Jesse,
Mr. T?
Jesse Ventura,
Jesse
Mr.
Ventura.
T.
Everybody dies except Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
The
Yes.
rest of them all get taken out by the Predator.
Is Stallone in it? No.
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 No, he's not. He should have been.
And then
Clearly
Predator,
Van Damme was the Predator for part of the movie.
Clearly, Mr. T's got to
And
run for
Predator 2
governor
had
because
nothing to do
Predator's
with the
doing
first
good things.
movie.
Also, Dolph Lundgren was the original Predator in a horrendous,
Screen
big
test?
puppety outfit.
Oh, God.
And they were like, we gotta fucking get rid of
I really
that.
feel like this is the year where anyone can run for government. So I would love to see
Well,
President
Caine
Dolph
is
Lundgren.
running for governor of
Dude, I'll vote for
some
Caine.
city in
Like the
I mean,
wrestler
Mayor?
Kane?
like
Yeah.
West Virginia
Who else would he be talking
or
about?
Kentucky or like one of
Country
those
Mama?
states.
one of them states.
Caine.
Yeah.
Governor Caine.
Like
Governor
Bob
Caine.
Kane, like the guy, one of the guys who made Batman.
Will his
No,
name
like
just be
Caine
Caine?
Taker.
Governor Caine. Just Caine, please.
And like his brother Under.
Yeah, and his brother Under.
All right, so what do we need
They
to talk
called him
about?
Undy.
We've gone on for a while. What do we need to talk about
Yeah.
before we can wrap this up?
I mean, so I think an important thing to consider is the
what about Catwoman? Oh, that's the next movie.
the cultural significance of this movie. 2008, the summer of 2008, we got The Dark Knight and Iron Man, and that's about the biggest 1-2 punch. I also got the Hulk. Doesn't matter.
I like the
It's the
Hulk.
biggest 1-2 punch in terms of completely shifting the paradigm on comic book movies.
Definitely.
From then forward, there was nothing.
You don't think Blade and X-Men was a similar one?
I think they got us on the right foot. I think they gave us the leg up we needed to get Iron
Yeah.
Man, and I think they gave it a good place for Batman Begins to step off of to go a different
What about
direction.
Daredevil and Fantastic Four?
No, garbage.
Oh boy, the first Fantastic Four movie
It's
in
not
2004
that
has its
bad.
merits.
It really isn't that bad. It's like not amazing, and they're trying to
Yeah.
do that thing where they like
sorry,
do the
which
frame
movie?
by frame comic book.
Chris
The
Evans,
one where-
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
Second
Yeah, the
one
one where
tank,
Chris
though,
Evans is
if you ever
the
wanna see a
flame
Super
guy.
garbage one that made me
Yes,
want to throw
thank
up in my
you.
mouth.
Yes,
Hey.
that's the
No,
one.
no,
no.
It was
Thank you.
okay.
No, that was
It
Rise of
wasn't
the
that
Silver
bad.
Surfer.
No, they're all that.
They're all bad.
Doctor
The
Doom.
first one is not as
first
good as
one was
Spider-Man.
okay.
It's not as good as
With,
X-Men.
Give you some liposuction.
But it is at least better than some of the more recent things like
Wait, who
at that
played?
point. Like,
like
who played Sue?
hey, that was Jessica Alba.
Yeah, that one was so bad.
Yeah.
Third
I
one.
love Jessica Alba, too.
It was still better than
The first
Batman and
Fantastic
Robin.
Four
It was
is,
still
like,
better
okay.
than Steel. It was still better than.
well,
It was
Uh,
bad in
Blade
the sense
Trinity?
that
It was
like
better than a root
cardboard.
canal.
What about
like-
Spawn? Spawn was great.
Spawn
Was
is
Spawn
in
good?
The Dark Knight.
What?
Michael Jai White
Yeah.
plays Gamble.
That's
The
right.
guy who
Oh,
gets
that's
his
awesome.
mouth cut open and dies from it because
Right,
they
that was such
reshot
a
the
weird
scene
sequence.
later on.
What about Ghost Rider?
Neat.
Cage?
Oh boy.
Nick Cage is actually Alfred if you
I
squint.
honestly
I have not-
enjoyed Ghost Rider, but I also have enjoyed other movies that
Yeah.
are terrible.
Isn't that
I
technical
just-
part
I
of
like
the
Nick Cage
MCU?
movies, so,
No.
yeah, that's
well,
cheap.
not the Nick Cage ones, but Ghost Rider appeared
Ghost Rider
in
was
Agents of
surprisingly
S.H.I.E.L.D.
enjoyable
in
my
episodes I haven't seen,
opinion.
and by default, it is already better than both of the Ghost Rider movies
I
with
should
Nick
catch
Cage.
up on Agents of
think
Oh,
I
I
only
like the
watched
John
the
Travolta
first one.
Punisher too.
Yeah. John Travolta Punisher?
Yeah.
Was he one of the bad guys, I hope?
Yeah.
And not the Punisher?
No, it was Tom Jane. But
Is he-
I like calling it the John Travolta Punisher.
Isn't
'cause
Shane
then
the
you get that
Punisher now?
moment.
Isn't
People
Tom
going,
Shane
wait,
is the
what?
Punisher now, yes.
Neat.
Tom
Good for
But
you,
Tom
Shane.
Jane, I actually really like Tom Jane as
Yeah.
the Punisher.
Tom
He did a
Jane
good
played
job.
Raiden in the Mortal
was a
Kombat
fun
movies,
movie.
right?
No.
No?
That was,
That was,
what's his name?
Christopher
Walken.
Christopher Robin.
L
Wait,
something.
No, wrong thing.
Lloyd, not Lloyd.
No.
That's a different
Lambert.
one.
Chris Lambert.
Christopher
Yeah, I think
Lambert,
that's what
yeah.
I'm thinking.
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was Christopher Lambert.
He played the
I'm sorry,
Punisher for
Christopher
Warzone then? He played the Punisher once.
Who?
Chris Lambert. I think it
Wasn't
might have
he
been for
also a Highlander?
Warzone. Was he a Highlander?
I think
Sean
so.
Connery was a Highlander.
He was,
Highlander.
he was a
Like,
Highlander.
literally, but
He was a Highlander. I don't remember him playing the
I
Punisher.
don't mean he was from Scotland. I mean he played Highlander. The show.
Yeah.
I feel like we've lost the thread a little bit.
So The Dark
Heath
Knight.
Ledger.
We had a thread?
I almost said Heath Legend.
Ooh, I got one. This will be a
Heath
short one,
Ledger.
but one of the most solid and surprisingly out of the norm roles for Gary Oldman. At that point, he was very commonly typecast as being a weird, quirky
Dracula?
bad guy dude.
Yeah.
And then here he comes, plays a very straight-laced
When was
Commissioner
Fifth
Gordon.
Element?
Fifth Element was before this. That was like early 2000s.
No, that was
You're
the
totally
90s,
right.
I
He
think.
Was it 90s? It was definitely before the Batman franchise.
He makes you
Sure.
care about a character who, even in 50 years of comic books, I never really cared that much
The
about.
most anyone's ever done with Commissioner Gordon was totally trying to fuck him up in The Killing Joke, and then embarrassingly recently giving him a Batman mech to replace Batman for a while when Batman decided not to be Batman.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
In
not
the
joking.
comics.
In what?
In the actual main DC universe, he piloted a
Well, one of the
Batman
DC
robot.
universes. I don't know if they've rebooted again or not.
Like a Batman Iron Man suit?
No, like a Batman,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a Batman Megazord suit.
Well, no, yeah, like a
Well,
like
not
a
as
Joker,
big.
like a Joker Buster,
Yeah, like a Batman
or a
Ironmonger.
Croc Buster.
There you go. Yeah, the Busters or the Ironmonger or something.
That seems like a really bad idea.
Yeah,
Go-
it seems
go
like a
Commissioner
really,
Gordon.
really bad idea. But they did it. This is also around the same time they made Batman God.
Huh?
They put him in the chair of Morbius, and he knew everything.
No,
And could do everything and
Morbius.
could time
Morbius
travel.
is the living vampire.
Yep. He had a throne of Morbius or whatever. Yes.
Was it Morbius?
DC Comics, man. Their highs
He
are
learned the
real
identity
high,
of
but
the
the
Joker.
lows are, whoo.
The problem is
He
they've
went
got to
back in
make
time
up
to see his
content
parents' death.
constantly. Like,
So fucking weird.
Being creative on schedule doesn't always work for people.
Tell the audience.
Yep.
and that's how you get.
He
started.
goes,
What a dick.
no, it goes like this. He sits in the chair and goes, all right. Excuse me. All right. Who killed my parents? Joe Chill. That's right. All right. And then the last line on the bottom, what is the identity of the Joker? And you see a ding, and that's where the comic ends. And then the next time he's doing other things in the chair of Morbius, but it's like, don't fucking cock tease us with that. Like, if you're going to do something crazy, do something a little less
Make it
blatantly
meaningful.
teasing
Also, like, the identity
people.
of the Joker is just the Joker now. It's not
Yeah.
like he goes
Yeah,
to
I was-
work every day as like Billy Smith.
At the time, there were theories.
The Joker is. It
At
doesn't
the-
matter anymore.
At the time, there were theories that the Joker was someone important from Batman's past or from his present. There was actually a really neat comic someone put together. I don't think that this is in any of the official DC stuff or any of the alternate universes, but there was a fan comic that someone did that suggested that Alfred is the Joker and is specifically going out of his way to keep
that was Neil
Batman
Gaiman.
fighting.
I mean, he does.
Did you
Was it a
see- there
Gaiman
was-
thing?
Yeah, that was Neil Gaiman.
Holy shit.
The
okay.
Joker is.
Somebody did one too that was like either his parents like not dying or becoming the
Flashpoint,
Joker.
yeah.
And yeah, those were really good.
Yep, his dad becomes... So instead
Are
of...
you sure? Because it sounds like a real bad idea.
In Flashpoint...
No, it's really
Flashpoint,
good.
I think, if I remember, is pretty interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
His
So-
dad becomes Batman.
Yes.
Yeah,
So instead of
Aquaman
his
It's like
parents
the kid,
dying...
the kid dies.
Bruce dies.
Little
Oh,
Bruce
yeah,
dies.
yeah, yeah.
Superman lives
Oh,
in
weird.
Russia. No,
Yeah.
that's different.
Oh, no, that's
No,
Red
it's like
Son.
it's like little Bruce dies. His dad
This is
becomes
basically like
Batman, and his
Ultimate
mom becomes
DC.
Joker.
Yeah,
like
because
they
they both go
kinda
crazy in a
snap,
different
right.
way. Yeah.
So this was a thing they did as
That's fairly interesting.
I thought it was neat. Right.
So basically, the Flash had tried to stop something. It might have been related to one of the crises that they did, and he
Just
went
one of
so
them.
fast
Infinite
that
crises
that
on
didn't-
infinite Earths.
He didn't go back in time. He literally just fucked the timeline entirely.
Yeah.
Popped
Fuck the
dimensions.
timeline.
Although actually, apparently, Flashpoint has led
Are you a
led
timeline?
into something that's going on right now.
That's good,
Which
'cause I don't
is
fuck you otherwise.
the convergence of the current DC comics and the Watchmen universe, which has always been just outside of it. Dr. Manhattan is trying to kill the DC universe now. He's the big bad guy of
Is
DC
Watchmen
right
even
now.
That sounds like Secret
Yes.
Wars.
Was it always?
Yes.
Huh.
But it's
How
existed
is that
outside the
movie?
main.
I remember that movie being real slow.
It is very
I liked
slow.
it.
It's a
It's
bit more of
slow
a
but
thinky
good.
piece, but it's like it's
It was all right.
it's common. I mean, at the
I'd
end
wanna
of
watch
the
it
day,
again.
it's commentary on the previous age of superhero stuff. In the comics, it's a commentary on the golden age,
Yeah.
and in the movies, it's a commentary on the '90s film era, especially the,
All right.
the Schumacher Batman era.
Schmucker.
They do a
Schmuckers.
good job with it, though.
Yeah.
Schmuckers,
keep
shut up and
They
hear.
do a pretty good job of following the comics.
I speaking of comics, I have I'm in the process of working on my webcomic debut. It's called Sad Batman, and it's always just 4 panels. There's like Batman doing something menial, like going to the grocery store and pushing his cart, and then like frame 2 is like he stubs his toe or something, and then frame 3 is just him looking really sad. And frame 4 is him looking really sad, and it just says, "I miss my parents," and it's that, but for like all sorts of really menial, sad, minor things. So coming soon. Get
So
excited.
the last 2 panels never change.
Correct. Well, it'll change if he's in the grocery store. He's in the grocery store. I mean, it's,
It
but
but
the last
close
two,
up on his face.
the last 2 panels are always that's true.
Yeah.
That'd be easier. Yeah.
So the first 2 panels.
We're
are the only
partners now.
one. All right. So check out
does
my
that-
new webcomic.
makes you middle finger.
It's Batman doing menial things. It's basically
being
going to be
sad.
4 panels every week. The first panel is going to be Batman doing some everyday tasks such
Bat
as
manual labor.
going shopping.
Yeah.
The second panel is
Or
going
like
to be
getting gas and then dripping some on his bat boots.
Stop interrupting me, John. The second panel is going to be him like stubbing his toe with the shopping cart. The third panel is going to be him looking very sad, and then the fourth panel is still going to be him looking very sad and saying, "I miss my parents."
You got it. That was it. That's what I said. Well done.
Now you're the finger to his cane.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the Alfred to my Mr. Fox.
Bob Kane should be the Joker. That should be the real identity.
Oh God! And this whole time,
I still want someone to do that. I tried to do that suggestion for the James Bond franchise when I said that when Christoph Waltz in the trailer says, like, do you know who I really am? Or, like, I forget what he said.
That you wanted to
I'm
be
the
Ian-
author of All Your Pain.
That you
I was
wanted
like,
to be actually Ian Fleming.
Yeah, I wanted him to play Ian Fleming. Actually, like, meta authoring the plot of the movie. And
You know what I
trying to
wanna
destroy
see?
James Bond.
I want to see a Batman where Patrick Stewart is Batman and Ian McKellen is the Joker. I'd watch that.
We lost Sarah. She had a
All
work
right.
thing.
She's dead now. So any final words about Batman The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger edition?
Despite the fact that it does have flaws and the fact that it does have stuff that is kind of irritating and like, oh, it could be shorter, it could be this, could be that.
It's not called Batman The Dark Knight.
Did I say Batman The Dark Knight?
John-
No, I did. It's just called The Dark Knight.
It's just called The Dark
I
Knight.
think they got it, though.
I
Thanks.
think at the end of the day,
I couldn't figure it out.
I think at the end of the day, it still remains to me the best comic book movie that's been made.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And it's one of the first movies where I can literally point to its flaws and say, yeah, but I don't care. It's like a girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's
a lot
like,
of movies, it's like, all right, yeah, I guess that's a problem. And you sit there and go like, I guess that was kind of a
yeah.
Damn.
Like in a Marvel movie, when something sticks with me, it really sticks. Like
Yeah.
when you told me about the angles in Thor, I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. Now I can't.
Oh, the
unsee
Dutch
it.
angles.
And
Holy
now it's just like all I see, and I couldn't get past it. But the things in The Dark Knight, I mean, minor. Or even if they're not minor, it doesn't take away from the experience, and the highs are so high,
yeah,
it just can't touch it.
Most of the bad things. Or
Bad
like they
things.
set it up in the movie so that you're like, yeah, all right, okay. Like
Yeah.
there's some weird plot things where like, how would the Joker know that this would be the time? That doesn't make it. You know what? It's the Joker. What,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's fine.
Yeah, and
That's
like, did they
okay.
need to be in China? No, but they did it well, so fine.
Yeah.
CJ?
I thought that movie sucked.
All right, well, yeah.
It's
He's being a
bullshit.
big old contrarian.
No, actually, I like the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, bud.
Welcome back.
I've been
wake
sleeping
up.
for this entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just a little CJ chiming in.
Mini CJ.
Oh, this guy.
No, what can I say about Heath Ledger as the Joker? I thought that it was very nuanced, refreshing take on the character that a lot of people didn't know how they were going to feel about going into it, because I remember all the backlash.
Yeah.
There was a
showed
lot
his
of
makeup.
Hey, here's pretty boy broke back Heath Ledger getting
And then
ready
it came
to,
out that he died.
Yeah.
Or, well, I guess he just died, and
Yeah.
and it wasn't a secret or anything.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
it was
but,
apparently it was
so-
a prescription
Yeah,
drug.
sleeping pill.
So then the
overdose by
interest
mistake.
peaked.
It wasn't even that. It was two different medications that
Interacted poorly?
complications.
And
Yeah.
we didn't talk about this. Sorry to interrupt you, but he actually was taking the sleeping pills. One of those was sleeping pills, and he was taking them because he got so into the method acting of creating the Joker as we knew it that he started like being a little unhinged. And there are accounts of other people on the set being like, "Yeah, he was having a tough time. Like he wasn't totally himself. He was kind of going. He was staring in the darkness a little too closely."
Oh, yeah. Watch The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, because, like, he kind of slips back into the Joker, like, at times, it seems like. It's like his performance is really weird in that. And then
It was
he's
all
Jude Law,
consuming to him. From
and
what
then
it
he's
sounds
Colin
like.
Farrell, and then he's Johnny Depp.
Oh, they rewrite it with all of his friends, like the Doctor Who kind of thing, where he changes bodies.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Is that,
basically.
okay. I
The
didn't know that. I
the
never
two
saw it.
biggest takeaways that I have for this movie at the end of the day is one, and I mentioned this when we watched the movie, is it has such a mythic feeling to it at the end of the movie where it could have come off being the super cheesy, corny bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's him riding off on the bat pod, and it's Commissioner Gordon talking to his son, talking about like, oh, he's the hero that he's the hero.
I still can
that we
never
need
remember
not
it. It
deserve.
doesn't really make
It doesn't
sense.
entirely make
He's
sense.
not the hero we want.
But
he's
it is
the
like
hero we have to live with.
a silent
I guess.
protector,
Yeah.
a silent
Hero we have to
protector,
put
a
up with.
watchful guardian, and all that. And it's like, kind of, yeah, because this sets up the character as being someone who's just going to be hiding in the shadows, helping out where there needs to be help.
Yeah, he's someone that the city can hate. Yeah. And in that sense, they don't deserve him.
Yeah,
Right.
they don't deserve
But-
him because they are forced to hate him.
Because like this, Gotham is like people are bad in Gotham.
Yeah.
So
It
they
sounds
don't
like a
deserve
thing
hero,
George
but
W.
they
Bush would have
need-
said in office.
He's not the
But
hero
they-
we need.
they
He's the
need him
hero who
to
eats up
do
all
what
our
he
tax
does.
dollars.
There's a saying.
You
There's a
fool me
saying down in
once,
Texas.
you can't fool me once. You fool me twice.
The other
he's
big
the hero we
takeaway.
He's the hero we. I don't know.
The other big takeaway
Minus.
was, and this was back in the days that we probably even talked about it, honestly, back in the days when we were doing the podcast in 2012, the three of us and about 5 or 6 other people all went to go see Dark Knight Rises the day it came out. And we literally spent all the fucking money we had because we didn't have enough between all of us to get enough taxis home.
Yeah, we walked
For-
home that night. Was it you and me?
It was
I
there were like
walked home
6 of
that
us.
night.
There were a whole shitload of us.
Yeah.
2 people took a cab. I think Steve got a cab. And then Steve and someone else got a cab, and the rest of us all walked the like 3 miles.
But didn't
home.
they like walk halfway with us and then they got a cab?
No, they
I
got
don't
in the cab
remember
right
what
at the
happened,
theater.
but
it
Same
was
theater
shitty
too.
night.
Oh,
Lowe's
you're
Theater.
talking about Steve D. right?
No, I was talking Steve,
Steve
H. Steve H.
Oh.
Actually,
are we in kindergarten? Steve H.
Was Alex also?
Steve.
Alex was there,
Steve.
but I
Was
can't
my
remember
phone
if he
that
hopped
way,
in the cab
actually?
or if he walked with us.
I feel like Alex flew away.
I don't know.
All right, guys, lit up.
One thing I do want to say is that people were a little. It's one of those things where it's rare that someone takes a bold take on a classic character,
Yeah.
and then does so well no one can fucking say anything. Once that movie came out, no one had any criticisms of Heath Ledger. They were like, "Yep,
Yeah,
he was
like,
right. He
wow,
knew what he was
we
doing."
lost this guy way too early."
Right, and but a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's going to be a stupid interpretation of the Joker." You know what I mean? Like,
it shut up all the people that were like,
That
"Oh,
were
he
like-
can't do this."
Yeah, and then
I
he
held,
did, and
I
it
held
was
back my
chilling.
criticisms on Jared Leto at first because I'm like, I've seen him in some stuff. He's pretty good, and you know, I thought that Heath Ledger was going to suck, and then he fucking blew the doors out the place. And then they released the dumb photo of like the Macaulay Culkin thing with damaged across for it. And I was like, oh, nope.
Yeah, no. Like, that's a
It
writing
is going to
problem,
suck
though.
from
I
here.
didn't see that movie. I'm sure he was fine for what he was given. But, like, I don't think you can do anything when that's the character they give you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's Jared Leto's fault. And the Joker's rock band, you know, it's a pretty solid rock band.
Yeah.
You know?
They're bringing it back to Mars. Isn't he 30 Seconds from Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. Bringing it back to Mars again.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, I love that movie. That movie.
Totally recalling that joke.
Hey,
totally
there you go.
recalling that joke. That movie was really important to me. It's the first time. It's like the last time I got that. She's really helping. Okay, she's supporting me right now.
Wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been that excited about a movie before or since. Maybe Snakes on a Plane, but for different reasons.
You got way too excited. I want to do a video where we do like a retelling.
Yeah, let's do that.
Snakes on a Plane was before that, I'm pretty sure.
It was, yep.
Yeah.
We'll do a thing where we'll D-pad and chill Snakes on a Plane, and then I will lead the review of Snakes on a Plane, scene by scene.
Like I said before, the only movies since then that I think I've even been comparably hyped up for it were the first Avengers movie and Infinity War. And both of those had more to do with several years of build-up in addition to like general excitement for the movie. Like Infinity War, it's like, sweet, we've been doing 10 years of this.
Yeah.
This is going to be fucking crazy. But this is one where it's like, it is a flat sequel, movie number 2, and I like someone would have had to literally like duct tape me to the wall to keep me from seeing it.
Yeah, something I realized recently, not to piggyback off what you're saying, the movies that like make me
By all means, piggyback off it. That's how this works.
You're talking about how you felt excited about the Avengers in the theater and
Sure.
all that. I don't feel strongly emotionally connected to those characters the way I do.
You've only seen about half of the movies, so
I guess so, but I've seen all the important ones. Right? I've seen
Not
Avengers 1 and
really.
2. I've seen Iron Man 1.
I've seen, like, the bad
I've
ones,
seen
I
Thor
feel
and
like.
Thor 3.
Have you seen Iron Man
I've seen
3?
Captain
Thor 3 was
America. I saw Iron Man.
Winter Soldier is a big
I saw
one.
Winter Soldier. I saw Civil War,
You didn't see
the Art
Guardians?
of Punching. I saw Guardians. Like, I saw enough of them. But, like for example, like I feel more connected to fucking Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman in X-Men.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's just because you were an X-Men
none of
kid
the-
growing up, though.
none of the characters in the MCU
Probably more
hold
than
a
an
candle
Avengers
to
kid. I wasn't more
the
of an
Joker.
X-Men kid.
Yeah, so I was just talking about how like I'm a little more emotionally attached to like Logan and Xavier or
Xavier.
Batman and
God, we got to do. I know we just watched it recently, but we got to do a thing, one of these movie nights at the Round Table for Logan.
I would love to do that because
The only other comic book movie that's
Why, so
I
we
think
can
in the
all
same
just
breath as the
sit in a
Dark Knight in
circle
terms
and
of
cry
quality
again?
yeah.
might be Logan.
Was Days of Future Past any good?
Yeah.
Yep. I almost watched it on the plane,
It
but
was
I got
pretty good.
distracted.
It was on that. It was definitely one of the better X-Men
good.
movies for sure.
Yeah,
It was
I thought it was
solid.
good. Apocalypse
Alright.
was not good.
Right.
I heard
Oh, that's
That
the
was-
one that was
Apocalypse was like, eh.
Okay.
It wasn't
The
bad.
Although
It was
Storm
good.
was good in that.
the good X-Men movies to see are
Somewhere
the
out
first
there,
one,
John
First
has a
Class,
MySpace page.
Days of Future
and
Past, and
It
Logan,
is Snakes on
Yeah.
the Plane theme.
Okay.
and Deadpool.
And you can find it.
Yeah, it's still up there. I think it's up there. I'll if I find it, we'll put a link in the comments.
What is?
My Snakes on a Plane themed second MySpace from when I was
Oh no.
15.
I got posters from Snakes on a Plane. When you went to the movies, they gave you a bunch of like it looked like a safety instructions thing from.
Oh,
from
nice.
the
That's
airliner. It was
cool.
awesome.
I talked the theater into giving me the poster of
Damn.
Snakes on a Plane because
You
I
remember-
was I did that.
Remember the music video for Snakes on a Plane?
Obviously.
He may or may
With-
not have had a water gun in his flak jacket.
Oh,
He-
damn.
not a track jacket.
A flak jacket. Jesus Christ.
Either way.
Well, yeah, he was that into it that he brought a SWAT.
I guess
All right,
so.
hold on. So Snakes on a Plane is wonderful, but we're off topic. Ben, any final words on the Dark
We
Knight?
already did the final words.
No,
Did we though?
I already talked about it.
Okay,
The
well-
cinematography was good.
Any
The
final words?
score was good. The performances were mixed. The
A lot of
pacing
people-
was could have been better. Editing was a little sour.
Yeah. But
it was
overall, if you
strung
had to give it a
together
number-
No, but you put it all
so
together,
nicely.
and it was the thing is it was directed great.
Christopher Nolan did
It was
an
directed fantastically,
unbelievable
and
job.
I think it was written very well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Number value. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
10. Oh boy.
Of like all movies ever, or comic book
Just for
movies,
you.
or
So forget what cinema snobs are going to say when you say that number. Like, just you. What of movies you enjoy?
I give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give it a 9. 9.5 even. But that's specifically for me. I'm not trying to place it in the context of the history of cinema.
It's a gut feeling 8.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like I've calculated and weighed the pros and cons. There's
Just like
8.
something about the greater than the sum of its parts of this movie just clicked for me in a very specific way, and it's my movie, and it's I'd say 9.5. It's
my movie.
I would probably.
And I'm usually kind of critical of things more so.
Oh yeah. I would probably put it against all movies. I'd probably put it in the 8.5 or 9. I think against comic book movies, it's a pretty solid 9, 9.5. I don't know if I could call it perfect. That's the thing.
Well,
is
we
like
can't. We identified
it's not.
the
We
flaws.
identified flaws.
Yeah.
If I was going to name any of them as potentially perfect, I could maybe make a case for Logan, but I think that's the only one that even has a shot. And I don't think that one's inherently better than the Dark
It's
Knight
just
necessarily.
different. It's
It's
a different
less
goal.
flawed
It's
and
a
goes for
different
different
goal.
thing and does
Yeah.
it in a lot of ways better. But that's a different conversation.
CJ, what about you? Give it a number.
55.
55. You heard it here first on the D-pad, folks. 55.
That's a number.
All right. I think we got to wrap this up. We're going to shoot this puppy.
Yeah.
Should
Oh,
we-
I have
should we
one more
give,
question for you, John. Though, what did
oh.
you think of Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight?
I thought it was good.
It's all right.
Is that
Yeah, that was it.
all right?
The final word on the Dark Knight just be night.
No.
Night.
No.
Rachel!
Oh
That's
God.
the final word.
There we go.
We had a downstairs neighbor when we lived in the house, and her name was Rachel, and constantly CJ would just be like, Rachel! Yeah, you hit stop. Yeah. Bye.